Right. Thank you for this opportunity for sharing our experience in adopting Flight at Gojek. I'm Maria from Data Science Platform team, Gojek. Yeah, so let's get started. This is the outline of today's sharing session. So just give you some introduction and then share you how we use Flight at Gojek, what we love so far, and then what we are planning to do in this year. So yeah, some of you may have heard Gojek. Some of you probably don't. So Gojek is an on-demand multi-service platform that operates mainly in the Southeast Asia. Actually, our biggest market is in Indonesia. We provide more than, I think, 20 products covering from ride-hailing, food delivery service, payments, and other smaller business such as daily needs or ordering ticket for movies and so on. And currently, in 2021, the scale at Gojek operate is the Gojek ecosystem contribute to around 1.7% of Indonesia's GDP, and Indonesia itself is in the top 20 largest GDP in the world. So that's yeah, to give you some idea about the Gojek scale. And at Gojek, we use a lot of machine learning in some of our product. For example, we use ML for optimizing voucher allocation, generating pickup points for our ride-hailing business, generate optimized price, and also performing matchmaking between our riders and our customer. So we have first-hand experience of a successful ML project, and the company itself is investing quite a lot in ML. The first thing that we invest on back in, I think, 2017 and 18 was building ML pipeline at Gojek. Back then we started with some kind of small abstraction on top of Airflow, where we're strict user to only run container. So back then we have like problem about dependency management and so on, and it create like dependency hell, since every workflow that we have will need to have a same dependency. So we separate that out using the container, and then yeah, we built this small abstraction. So far, it has been successful, and today we serve around thousands of pipeline at Gojek. But then there are a lot of pain points that our users currently experience. The first one is that the main pain point is the less than ideal development experience. So the strategic move of restricting only running container create like problem in terms of like testability and also a learning curve. Some of our data scientists are not like expert in like building container and so on, so they have to learn that part. And also they are not able to do testing in their local machine, so they have to do it in our shared staging environment, which prolong the iteration cycle. The next one is that in Airflow, or at least in our current Airflow that we are running, we have a scheduler scalability issue. So as we have more and more pipeline in the platform, we tend to see that at some busy hour that the scheduler performance start to degrade, and then it creates like a delay in the starting time of our pipeline. And of course, there's also reliability issue where we can't have like a highly available scheduler to be deployed. I think this is probably fixed in the more recent version of Airflow, but yeah, this is what we currently experience. There's also a smaller problem that quite frequent to happen is the missing DAGs. So Airflow has this Airflow bag, if I'm not wrong, DAG bag that to store all the AA pipeline. And we tend to see that sometimes there's a missing DAG. It's not getting picked up by the Airflow itself. So it's a small but yeah, annoying problem that can be have. And lastly, it's there's infrastructure overhead. So currently we have we run it on the VM. So we have several tier of VM for running different kind of workload. And since we can't really do like granular resource requests such as Kubernetes, it will create like a lot of overhead for running a workflow. And those are some few pain points to currently experience. And yeah, we would like to how we get into this point probably won't get us to the next several 5 years. So we will have to change this. And what we want is that essentially first we have to make sure that we provide the first class development experience. Ideally, there's a local experience and minimize a boilerplate code and so on. It has to be data aware. This is a problem that we recently experienced, is that it's hard to track data dependency of data lineage, and we would like the platform to have a built-in ability on that. And especially for ML, it involves a lot of data, and yeah, having the platform to be a data aware is critical. It has to be scalable. At least we can handle an order or two order of magnitude from what we currently have. And lastly, we want to be Kubernetes native. So the team itself is building expertise in the operating or building software on top of Kubernetes. So we want to leverage that into operating this new system as well. Just for a brief view, this is the current development experience. So imagine this box, large box is a task that need to be implemented by our user in Clockwork. All of them has currently to be need to be implemented by them, and it creates a lot of boilerplate code. For example, they need to transfer the input from some temporary storage, which usually use GCS to input validation, and then the core of the task itself, the business logic, is just a minor part of the task. And other than that, there is the platform doesn't know about what happened within the task, and if the platform want to know about data dependency, we'll have to build the tool on top of it, which is probably not the best use of our time. So we ideally see that the development experience should be like this. Users should focus on their business logic, and the platform handle the rest. The first one is that, yeah, it will make sure that user is doing what they need to do, and then at the same time, we want to also ensure that the platform handle critical aspects such as data dependency and data lineage. So yeah, in the last semester, 2021, we started evaluations of several tools in the market that will satisfy our requirements, and eventually we choose Flight on this. And yeah, we are happy that with our experience so far with Flight. So what we started is we built, of course, the infrastructure, how we deploy Flight in GCP. There was a learning curve along the way when we tried to deploy our Flight in our infrastructure. But eventually we settled with three separate environments. We have a development environment where we can use it for our internal tests, where we probably do some upgrade to the latest Flight, and or we build some customization there. It's for our team internal use. And then we have staging environment where it is being used by our data scientists to test their workflow before going into production. The next thing is that we want to ensure our platform is self-serve. And the very first pain point that we want to address is about how the pipeline receive credential. So our pipeline is usually interacting with many Google services, such as BigQuery, GCS, Vertex AI for training, and so on. And we want to make sure that there is no manual step when there is a new project getting onboarded. So what we do is that each and every project that is getting onboarded, we make sure it will automatically generate a credential. In GCP, it's called a Google Service Account. And then this Google Service Account is created when we create the project. At the same time, this Google Service Account is bound to the Kubernetes Service Account, which is being used for running the task. And we give also the default credentials, such as accessing the BigQuery or GCS, the temporary storage or Flight, so that in one step of creating project and then submitting a simple workflow, it all just works for a new project. And other than that, we also built some integration with our project machine learning platform. So what we have been working so far is that in terms of integration, we built integration with three of our core products. The first one is Merlin. It's a model deployment platform. So we have several tasks, such as tasks for the building a new model, deploying it into some environment, and then do some blue-green deployment. We built also some a Flykit plugin for interacting with our feature store, mainly to do offline to online ingestion, then to do historical data retrieval. And lastly, we built a Flykit integration with our experimentation platform. Other than that, we also, this is based on the requests from our data scientists, where they work a lot with the DBT. So we also built a simple DBT plugin where we can execute DBT project and also run the testing. This is just a simple snippet of our FIS plugin. So running offline to online ingestion is just a few lines of code where user can just specify the configuration, create the task, and then of course create the workflow which trigger the task itself. And lastly, what we do is to focus also on the onboarding effort. So on top of providing the infrastructure, we also design how can a user getting onboarded into the infrastructure. And to do that, we also create a repository generator, a cookie cutter, essentially, that provide a generic workflow, such as model deployment, model feature engineering, and then also we provide them a simple CI/CD pipeline that will help them to deploy this into a staging or a production environment. I can give you a brief sneak peek into this. Let me share again. Yeah, so this is the sample generated project from the cookie cutter. So essentially, the project will generate two workflows. The first one is feature engineering, and in this feature engineering, we have two main tasks. The first one is the feature engineering, which in this case, it will trigger a DBT project, DBT run, and then also do data validation using DBT tests. The DBT project itself is located here. So we have a DBT project that a simple DBT project. It's coming from their sample project. And then also do some feature ingestion into FIS. Next thing is other common generic pipeline that we usually build is a model training and deployment. So in this case, we create a sample project which demonstrates how they can build a simple deployment pipeline for training, and then building and deploy the test and model, and then performing some blue-green deployment. And all of them leverage the integration that we built with our MLP. And also we provide them with a simple ACI so that they don't need to build themselves. In this case, we help them to be able to have workflow like this. So there's a testing stage where they can test their workflow and then so on. And then there's also a stage where they can publish the pipeline to staging. And then when there is a tag getting into this repository, they will be able to deploy it into a production as well. So this will help them to at least have pointer on to get started. And you can focus more on the building pipeline instead of like other aspect of a boilerplate kind of work. Oops. So yeah, that's what we do also in terms of optimizing the onboarding process. So far, in the last semester, we onboarded one pilot project for internally, and then we are planning to also open up to the rest of the organization this year. So yeah, that's our plan. This is currently what we love from Flight. The first one is from FlightKit itself. It provides a powerful and expressive way of building pipeline. Some of the things that we love so far is the dynamic workflow and flow control. It's quite powerful in building the pipeline. Sometimes we tend to forget that the FlightKit is a DSL, and then expect something like to use it like a normal Python programming language. That's a typical pitfall that we currently experience. But yeah, so far it's been awesome. The next one is of workflow versioning. This is quite important because I think when it comes to productionizing a pipeline, there's only a few platforms that provide this kind of versioning, and to us it's critical when for use case where we want to roll back to certain workflow version in case there is a bug getting introduced into our production pipeline. It's also extensible, so we can build a integration on top of what it's currently provide in the open source. Yeah, we have this MLP integration, and so also we added some other integrations such as dbt. It's also fast and scalable. So during our evaluation stage, we did some stress tests to understand whether Flight can satisfy our requirements, and it was providing us with a good result. And lastly, it's been an awesome journey, and when adopting Flight, it has a vibrant and also helpful community and that help us getting onboarded in Flight. Yeah, so what we are going to do in this year is, of course, to build a closer integration with the Gojek MLP. We want to make sure that currently it has it has separate dashboard from our internal machine learning platform. We want to make sure that it's in the same place so that it's discoverable by the rest of the people. And we want to have also some fault secret storage integration within this quarter. Probably we will try to integrate that. And lastly, yeah, we will open up with the Flight to the rest of the organization and push adoption. All right, that's all I have. If there's any question, I'll try to answer that.
Oh, Arya, that was fantastic. Thank you so much for presenting. One of the most interesting things to me is like when we started at Lyft, the workflow was like kind of similar to what you've actually ended up building, and I don't think we ever discussed about like how we did this is really MLOps, right, where folks can build and it gets like nicely versioned and deployed, and independent IAM roles, and so that people can't affect each other's flows. And you've kind of ended up with that classical flow that we started with as well. So this is great, great to see that you were able to do that, and you can get value from the platform.
Yeah.
One question over there. So would you so we are working on certain things, but would you be and we should probably collaborate on this, but when you do the blue-green deployment, would you want a manual intervention at that point to say whether should I go ahead or no? Or do you think that's like completely handled in your system?
It's currently, completely handled in our system. The blue-green deploy is usually happening automatic. So after, of course, a comprehensive testing, like we run load testing before we switch to the new model. We run also some functional tests to the model, and even after it's getting the production traffic, we also track the impact of the new model to our critical business metrics. So yeah, it's automatic.
Wow, that is amazing. Any questions from anybody else? Eduardo, I think you're mute. Or maybe your microphone is incorrect. Still cannot hear you.
I'll go while Eduardo's fixing his thing. Do you have any thoughts on requirements when you said more like data awareness and data lineage? Do you have like is that a well-defined ask? Would you
It
be
was not.
to a class?
Yeah, it's not quite like materialized in terms of requirement, but the first because we haven't fully like work on committing on that kind of work, but the first step that we want to make sure is that the platform itself will have to understand or at least handle taking care of the data that's getting produced or getting consumed by the task. So that's a great start because by knowing those, that means the platform itself can create a feature where they can expose this kind of input output lineage into some kind of dependency graph and then present this to user. So that's what we thought initially. Of course, we haven't like fully fleshed out the idea of the data lineage itself, what we currently need. There, but I did some like a quick overview, like research in what's happening in this area, and we find that there's one project in LFLI. It's called Open Lineage, which is the closest thing that I can say to what's the ideal stage we want to achieve in that area.
Well, yeah, we're gonna try to have a chat with them at some point soon. So let me know if you're interested in that.
Oh yeah, sure, surely.
Yeah, he has been really thinking about the data lineage stuff. So yeah, I think Arya, you and he, I would love to be involved as well. Eduardo?
Nice. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Cool. This is fantastic presentation. This is great. I have a question about some of the integrations that you mentioned, particularly DBT and Feast. Like, are you guys thinking of open sourcing that at any point, or is it like too tied to your own infra and might not be?
For the DBT, we are thinking actually open source it at some point. So yeah, we will have to clean it up a bit, and then I'll coordinate with the rest of flight teams to how to open source it. And for the Feast plugin, I thought that the flight team is already start working on that. We can help on pushing our version to the open source, but the problem is that we are running a bit older version of this. It's a branch of the 0.9. I think today the Feast version is already 0. something. So yeah, that's the I think the blocker that we currently have in open sourcing our Feast plugin.
Cool.
Yeah, there have been some other teams also who've asked for the DBT plugin, so that would be fantastic area. And just I also saw that you are interested in Vault. I think the Vault team has Vault, which is DoorDash's team, has also I think they merged in Vault plugin for the backend. So you should be able to. It should be easy enough. I don't know if you've looked at the docs, but it should be. And please let us know if you see any problems.
Sure.
All right. Any other questions? All right. If there are no other questions, I think this was our encore presentation today. So we are the special edition today. We'll conclude it. From next time, I think there might be 2 weeks from now. It's also again going to be 30 minutes suggested or something, because Vault team is going to present their usage, and I think currently, at least, we think 2 weeks after that. I think the Black Shark team is going to present, if I'm not mistaken. So lots of interesting presentations coming in. Moreover, next time we'll also be doing a UX town hall, a UI deep dive into all the features that are getting launched in January. So yeah, please join in. I think it will be very interesting. to get feedback on the UI parts and Jason from my team, who's been leading the work on the UI, will be presenting it. So it'll be amazing. All right. Thank you guys for joining, and thank you, Arya, for the presentation. So
Yep, thanks
until
for
next
the
time.
opportunity too.
No, please do. And anytime you have an update, you want to present more, we'd love to have you. Thank you.
Thank you.